Hi, I'm Cynthia, and welcome to this space for practicing intentional and mindful communication together. Each week, we explore how to stay calm, clear, and connected, even in the conversations that feel the hardest. Now, do you ever feel like all you do is nag your kids, and no matter what you say, they push back, they talk back, or they completely shut down? I get it. I used to feel like a broken record. Hang up your coat, stop that, don't run. And it just led to more frustration for everyone. But here's the thing, it wasn't that my kids weren't listening, it was the way I was talking to them. The shift that changed everything for me was moving from imperative language demands to declarative language, which invites cooperation instead of resistance. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. How declarative language works, why it matters, and some practical examples you can try out this week. Before I get into it, a little about me. I'm Cynthia Kane, and I'm the author of 4 books on mindful communication: How to Communicate Like a Buddhist, Talk to Yourself Like a Buddhist, and How to Meditate Like a Buddhist, and the Pause Principle, How to Keep Your Cool in Tough Situations. I have courses, trainings, and I work one-to-one with people to help them become less reactive within their interactions and more responsive. The question that came in was about using declarative language and to see if I could share more examples of how to use it in everyday life. Tips for diffusing and disarming conversations with an 11-year-old with ADHD. Okay, so to begin, most of us use imperative language throughout the day. So let's think of imperative language as a question that demands a response. The response could be verbal or it could be an action. So, for example, look at me when I'm talking to you. Grab your backpack. What did I just say? Go up and do your homework. Hang up your coat and put your lunchbox in the kitchen. Don't step on that. Stop that. Don't run, right? This is what I like to think of as impatient language. We're irritated in some way, we're in a hurry, we're angry, and we just want to get things done or have the want to be fulfilled instantly. And in these moments, after we say these demands, we're bound to be let down. Why? Because this kind of language creates discomfort and it often activates the sympathetic nervous system, sending kids and adults into the fight, flight, and freeze. So these kinds of demands expect a correct response, which can be extremely stressful. And this is why so often we're met with talking back or yelling or saying, no, I'm not going to do it, or just complete shutdown altogether. So this kind of language we know isn't doing the job we want it to do. And it's having us feel like all we do is nag and ask for things to be done. And we're constantly feeling impatient and irritated or exhausted because we're not getting the outcome that we desire. So let's try something different then. We're going to see what happens when we use declarative language instead. And as I go through these examples, just notice which ones you could try this week. Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear what is landing for you. So declarative language, as we've talked about, it really is observing what we're seeing rather than demanding something. So instead of us telling them what to do and creating that pushback, we're using language that helps them figure out what needs to be done on their own. So they become really an active participant in this exchange. So now I am not an expert on declarative language. That is really Linda K. Murphy, and her book, Declarative Language Handbook, which I'll post the link below for, is really what I recommend for anyone really interested in going deeper into this. I use declarative language in my work and in my practice to help parents create a more understanding and patient relationship with their kids, and for those in the workplace to create a more collaborative and joining in type of environment. So Linda Murphy in her book writes that declarative statements invite a child to look up and observe their surrounding environment. Then once they see the contextual clues that you see, they can determine what to do next on their own. So instead of look at me when I'm talking to you, it becomes I see you're having a hard time looking at me while I'm talking. I'm worried you might not understand me if you're not looking at me. Or if I say pick up your backpack, that becomes I see your backpack on the floor. Or if we have what did I just say becomes I'm wondering if you heard what I said. Go up and do your homework becomes I'm wondering if you have homework tonight. All we're doing is we're observing what's here. We're making really what I like to say the implicit explicit, right? This is something that comes from a curriculum called Unstuck and On Target, working specifically with those with executive functioning challenges. The more we can make what is implicit explicit, the easier it is for everyone involved. So instead of saying, hang up your coat and put your lunchbox in the kitchen, it can become, I see your coat on the ground and your lunchbox is still in your bag. Don't step on that becomes, I see you're stepping on your shirt, or stop that becomes, I'm worried if you keep doing that, you'll get hurt. Don't run could become, I don't want you to run right now because it's not safe. So a way to start practicing declarative sentences is to lead with phrases like I see, I wonder, it looks like, I remember, or my idea is. Or we can invite the child to join in with us for things like, let's go on a walk together, or I'm going to get all the ingredients together. We can figure this out together. Again, it's that collaborative feeling. I really liken it to what I shared before. It is paying attention to what we are observing and what we're seeing, and we're actually just living it out loud. We're saying it out loud, and it's not an easy thing to do. So what are you seeing? What are you observing? What are you noticing? To be able to start using declarative language, you're going to want to make sure you're really mindful of when you're using imperative language. So when you notice you're making demands or asking questions, see if you can pause, take a beat, and then start a sentence with, I wonder, or I see instead. Try it out and definitely let me know how it goes. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And remember that every conversation is a chance to practice being more calm, clear, and connected. If today's tip was helpful, hit subscribe so you'll be here for next week's mindful communication practice. And I'd really love to keep this a two-way conversation. So share in the comments how you're trying declarative language this week, what works, what feels tricky, because your experience might help someone else in this community too. And if you're ready to go deeper, you'll find links below to my books and to my premium newsletter, The Mindful Communication Insider, where we take these practices step by step. Until next time, every conversation is a chance to practice, so keep showing up.